In the 3 years that I've owned this Nissan Leaf, I've had various interesting discussions with other EV owners on social media about which kind of charging infrastructure we think is the priority. In this episode, I want to talk about why I think that rapid chargers should be the biggest priority in terms of EV infrastructure. Number one, and it's rather an obvious one, is the time taken to charge. With a rapid charger, you're looking at, well, certainly in the case of this car, 30 to 45 minutes to charge the car up to get a reasonable range of about 70-ish miles. Number two, most people tend to shop locally and charge at home. So while it's potentially useful to have fast chargers in supermarket car parks, they're not going to be the primary means of charging for most EV owners. They're a nice to have rather than an essential part of charging infrastructure. A slightly related point there is that a lot of people tend to have groceries delivered nowadays, and that certainly applies to us. So the benefits of having a fast charger in a supermarket car park are not amazing. And on another related point, because a lot of the fast chargers at supermarkets tend to be near the store entrance, simply because logistically it's easiest for them to put route power from the main building to chargers that are close to their entrance, it tends to mean that those charge points are nearly always iced. Number three, rapid charging is short duration charging, which means that more vehicles can potentially use one charging point over a fixed period of time than any other charging method. Number four, for the widespread adoption of electric vehicles, people are going to be able to make normal journeys in them. Occasionally people make longer journeys, and longer journeys with electric vehicles require rapid charging infrastructure. Nobody is going to undertake a long journey and stop for several hours to charge at fast chargers. We need rapid chargers to make those journeys possible. 5. Rapid chargers enable the possibility of EV ownership to people who don't have any off-street charging. In the same way that with an internal combustion engine, they periodically visit somewhere to fill up, in the case of an EV, they would periodically visit a place to rapid charge. And there are several people who already own EVs who are existing along those lines, and just quite well. Now, undoubtedly, if they had more availability of rapid chargers themselves, that would make life an awful lot easier, in the same way they have access to potentially hundreds of petrol pumps in an area close to them. 6. Certain areas of the country are still effectively inaccessible to EV owners. Sure, you can usually get to most places, but there's no guarantee you're going to be able to get back. Installation of a wide coverage of rapid chargers all over the country would make EV ownership possible for absolutely everybody who currently owns an internal combustion engine car. 7, and I confess this is anecdotal, but it does seem that occasional rapid charging balances the battery chemistry somehow and actually improves the state of health of the battery. There's plenty of anecdotal evidence of this amongst EV owners. 8, and this is really directed at those who advocate streetlight based charging above rapid charging. Now, I foresee a number of problems with streetlight based charging. Don't dismiss the idea at all. Let me just put that out there straight away. I think over time it's probably a very good solution, but there are some concerns I have about streetlight charging. Firstly, anyone who's lived with street-only parking will understand the difficulty of maintaining a dedicated parking spot. If you live on a street with no designated parking space, you don't have an official parking space of your own. So the situation there is that charging points need to be put into every lamppost, ideally, in that situation. And even then, are you going to be 100% sure that your car will line up satisfactorily with the charging point? Streetlight charging, of course, means that you need to have the street lights curbside, because you can't have trip hazards trailing across the pavement. Another aspect of streetlight charging, which I don't think has been given due consideration, is the likelihood of wanton vandalism. Now, most designs I've seen have a Type 2 plug pointing directly out the side of a lamppost. Now, if that isn't an invitation for meatheads to go along kicking them all out in the middle of the night, I don't know what is. That's going to have to be thought about, because I will bet a lot of money that that is going to happen. Somewhere, a load of knuckleheads are going to go along a street of charging cars and kick out every plug that's plugged into a lamppost. Another concern I have about streetlight charging is you're trailing a cable across a pavement. Now, again, I don't know how clean pavements are in your area, but they tend to attract some of the less pleasant things in life, should we say. So, if you're happy to have your charging cable draped in vomit or dog feces, fine, but rest assured, you're charging from a lamppost. Dogs plus lampposts, you know where I'm going with this, don't you? 9. Tesla are probably the world leaders in terms of electric vehicle development. Tesla understand the need for some kind of rapid charging mechanism, hence the deployment of their superchargers. So if Tesla understand this from a market point of view, why doesn't everybody else understand it? And also consider that Tesla has by far the biggest range vehicles that are available. So despite that, they still recognise a requirement for rapid chargers. 10. Even the big oil giants, Shell and BP, recognise the requirement for rapid charging in their filling stations. Now, if they can get it, if they understand the requirement, why doesn't the whole EV community get it? Yes, I know continuity leaves a bit to be desired, but the fact of the matter is I missed out on something quite important. And that's a bit odd, because it was one of the main points that I wanted to bring up in the first place. Namely, onward journeys. And what I mean by that is, it's not uncommon for you to arrive back home with close to an empty battery, for instance. And in those circumstances, you've got a choice with an EV. You either wait quite a long time and charge on level 2 home charger, or granny lead if it's worse than that, or you don't go. Or you find a rapid charger. Now, if the nearest rapid charger to you is 20 miles away and you haven't got 20 miles of range left, you're left with very little choice. If there's a rapid charger around the corner and you just need to do that top up as you would with a petrol or diesel vehicle, there you go. And now back to the other guy. So those will be my main points, really, as to why I think rapid charging should be the #1 priority. I would like to make it clear that I don't discount the rollout of fast chargers, but I think I must be missing something. Somebody else must have a different experience of ownership than I have if they think that fast chargers would be preferable to rapid chargers. In a discussion I had recently, the person I was discussing with was saying, the range of EVs is going to increase going forward. It's only going one way, so we're not going to need rapid chargers. Well, I don't think that's true, because it doesn't matter how big the capacity of a battery is. At some point, you will run out of charge on that battery. If you happen to be near home, fine. If you happen to be anywhere you can charge slowly, fine. But if you happen to be in the middle of a journey when that happens, and you can't get a rapid charge, then you've got a very long wait on your hands. Now, I just want to clarify something. I am not dismissing the usefulness of fast chargers. All I'm saying is I think that rapid chargers should be the #1 priority. When a council has a decision on which kind of infrastructure they should spend money on, I would say every time rapid chargers. And some councils get this. Cotswolds is one that springs to mind immediately, which is not too far from where I am. And they've installed rapid chargers in interesting tourist locations, potentially. I've contacted my local borough council and county council to discuss this with them. And I said to them, yeah, I appreciate you've got fast chargers installed in car parks. Do you have any idea of how much use they get? And I preempted to them, I said, I bet they don't get much usage. And the lady with whom I was speaking said, yeah, confirmed that was the case. They don't get much usage. I said, really what you should be doing is putting a rapid charger in somewhere you'd like to attract passing tourists, for instance. Put it near a tourist information centre or somewhere nice, a beauty spot. Put a rapid charger there with somewhere for people to go and have a coffee or something like that. And you'll attract passing people. People will actually route via a rapid charger on a longer journey. I've done it myself several times. As I say, I'm not dismissing fast chargers. I do use them very periodically. I tend to use them as destination chargers, which is what they're designed to be. So certainly I've used fast chargers if I go and stay at a hotel, for instance, and it's plugged in overnight. If there's a fast charger at a hotel, I'd pick that, or a B&B. I'd pick that over one that doesn't have one. And likewise, I've gone to concerts. I've gone to Birmingham to see bands in concert, and I've benefited from fast chargers that are installed in the car parks there. So I'm not dismissing them out of hand. I think they're very good in some instances. Now I should clarify that this Nissan Leaf we've owned for the last 3 years has actually got a 3.3 charger on board, so it hasn't got the 6.6. So I concede it doesn't benefit from the, say, 2.5 hour charging times that a 6.6 might. But 2.5 hours is still a long time. So summing everything up, there's certainly a role for fast chargers, destination chargers. They're absolutely perfectly useful for when you want to go somewhere and you're going to spend at least a couple of hours, for instance. But they're not suitable for transit charging. And transit charging is what we need. If we want to encourage widespread adoption of electric vehicles, you need to make the transition from internal combustion engine to electric vehicle as smooth, as seamless as possibly can. And you don't want people to be changing habits massively unless it's to their convenience. So charging at home is convenient, but not being able to stop and rapidly charge when undertaking a long journey is not convenient. If you said to somebody, well, sorry, there's certain parts of the country you can't travel to easily because there aren't any rapid chargers, straight away you've alienated them from ownership. Now, those of us who are EV owners want to encourage the adoption of EVs over the coming years, because as a community then we grow. We have more of a power of lobby, if you like. And it's all very well for people to say that the technology is moving in a certain way with longer range vehicles, so we can be fairly dismissive about the current range of vehicles which maybe have limited ranges, such as the one I'm driving. Well, the reality is we've lived as a family with this vehicle for 3 years, perfectly adequately. Yes, it's not as convenient as an internal combustion engine car, I can't possibly deny that, but the main reason it isn't as convenient is because of the lack of rapid charging infrastructure. If there were rapid chargers all around the country at the saturation levels they're at in Milton Keynes, it would be an absolute breeze. You'd go absolutely everywhere, anywhere, at any time, without having to even think, is there a rapid charger in the area I'm travelling to? Do I have to route massively out of my way because there isn't one? Is the rapid charger going to be working? If it doesn't work, is there some kind of redundancy? Is there another one nearby? Those are kind of things we live with at the moment on the basis of a rather scarce availability of rapid chargers. So rather than dismissing rapid chargers as being costly, we need to think about this as a wider benefit to society. We need to realise that not everyone is going to be going out and buying the biggest, high-range, latest electric vehicle when they come out, because they're not. If you want to encourage the maximum number of people to take up EVs, you have to think about the people who are going to be buying EVs second-hand. You have to think about the variety of EVs that are currently available at reasonable and accessible costs now to the general public. You could pick up vehicles such as the one I'm driving now for around about £10,000. Sure, the price is going up at the moment, driven by demand a little bit, but you're not talking the tens of thousands of pounds people associate with electric vehicles anymore. They've been out long enough now for there to be a variety of second-hand vehicles available. And the fact that they're available means that it opens up EV ownership to more and more people. But if the rapid charging infrastructure isn't there, they're just going to be put off. So thank you for watching my little rant. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel for future videos on my experience with EV ownership. Thanks for watching.